So we're very fortunate this afternoon because the guys managed to find a pack of wild dogs this morning. So we're getting across now to go and see them and hopefully have a little bit of action. You can see the sun setting behind me there. So we're edging closer and closer to when wild dogs would normally be getting up and moving around. So thankfully we had a few distractions earlier. And now we can get across to something slightly more active and fast-paced. Oh, we certainly got what we came for. To have all of these wild dogs out in the open, like this, playing in the water, drinking, coming right up to the vehicle. As well as a hyena in the mix. So, of course, if they're all just settled down, this hyena doesn't necessarily pose a huge threat to these pups. Because I'm pretty sure as soon as it tries to do anything to any one of these wild dogs, the rest of them will just gang up on it and chase it out of here. To that point where you could even see the pups were confidently enough going in there to keep the hyena tucked up against the branch on the edge of a little waterhole here. If I'm good. Copy that. Confirm you said it is the Tsalala female. Copy that. I'm probably going to be leaving this position of tortoise in the next 5, and then I'll make my way in your direction. I will get an update when I'm a little bit closer there. I've just heard from Kirst over the radio that she has found a lioness very close to camp, next to Fluffy's pan, for those of you that do know where that is. And she seems to think it is the Tsalala female. So I want to get across there. I want to see her. I haven't seen her in ages. And if she's back on Londolozi, that is fantastic news, because she's supposed to have some young cubs. So let's go and see if it is her, if she's got suckle marks, and hopefully, very, very hopeful that we might find some lion cubs with the Tsalala female in the next few weeks. I'm going to keep this very brief because, as you can see, these bugs are dive bombing me. All the flying ants, winged alates. So they are swarming. But we just left the Tsalala female. She's been calling. Doesn't look as though she's got suckle marks. And then we heard some responses to her calls from much further west. So I don't know if that is the plains camp males or somebody else calling. But she's now marching back in that direction. So we're going to leave her. We're going to bomb it back to camp. Well, that was a pretty awesome little interlude with a scorpion. It looks like a shiny burrowing scorpion or a Pistophthalmus glabriformis. We can tell that because of its lighter sort of tan brown coloration, as well as the size of the pincers, along with a very thick prominent tail. Normally you'd tell the perceived risk or threat of a scorpion by the size of its tail. If the tail is very pronounced and the pincers very small, it means that's where all the focus is. And if it's a very skinny small tail, very pronounced large pincers, then that means that the danger is in the front and they'll rather grip and crush their prey as opposed to killing it with the venom. What was interesting is also to try and ward off the threat, they rub their mandibles or their mouth, known as their chelicerae, together to make a hissing sound. So, pretty awesome. I'm sure he would normally be out and about at night looking for food, but as with most of the activity we're seeing right now, it's a couple days after a significant amount of rain. The ground is wet and soft, and therefore we see the emergence of a lot of the winged alates, or flying ants as they're also nicknamed. They're not ants, they're termites. They are the reproductive termites that then get released from a mound, fly around and essentially try and find a mate to then start their own colony or their own termite mound themselves. They are highly nutritious, and all the bird life, mongooses, and even the blue-headed tree agamas. A tree agama, and we saw the male who's got a bright blue head, electric, vibrant blue, charging around. He was catching some ants and termites, feasting away. After leaving the Tsalala female marching into the night roaring last night, hoping to seek out a male to possibly mate with, we were ecstatic to find that she had met up with the 2 Gijima males in the morning, and they were right on our front doorstep, with a small herd of ellies grazing peacefully in the background. Not for long though. The blonde male, who seems to be the slightly more dominant male at the moment, tried his luck mating with the female, and the ellies didn't quite like that.
peace prevailed again, and they continued mating right by the delivery site. So this is some pretty fantastic news for the Tsalala female and her future litters going forward. Because if she can now move around and mate with all of the dominant males in the area, essentially convincing them all that her cubs belong to them, they'll have a vested interest in keeping those cubs and the mother or the female safe. So it bodes very well for her, and hopefully getting some cubs to independence that can help bolster the Tsalala pride once again. I'm sure they'll move a little bit. Digging. Make the ground soft and cool, I think. So they hung around outside camp for a good few days before eventually going their separate ways. Thanks for joining me on this epic virtual safari where everything that you've seen in this entire video was captured over the space of only 2 game drives. So it doesn't get much better than that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know your favorite moments from this video in the comment section below, and we'll see you back here again for the next one. So bye for now.